Inshallah, now a nikah gathering, nikah majlis will take place. All brothers participating are humbly requested to come forward. Secondly, all brothers are requested to refrain from any sort of photography or videography. And inshallah, we'll start the majlis. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون صدق الله العظيم. Honorable Ulama Kiram, respected brothers, my dear young friends, Alhamdulillah, today we are gathered here in Nikah Majlis, a sunnah of our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and a sunnah of majority of the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. At this moment, there are some questions sometimes the partners to be have in their minds, and it is a good occasion just to give some basic advice. And to start with the ayats that are mentioned or that are recited in the majlis of nikah at the time when nikah takes place, all three ayats have within them a core message. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning in all three ayats that Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu taqullah. O believers, exercise taqwa. Exercise taqwa. Exercise taqwa. Fear Allah. Stay away from those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will cause the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all three ayats there are different messages of how to attain that taqwa. So in the first one, it is about that fulfill the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the second ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention that protect your tongue. وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. Make sure whatever you say is correct. Because sometimes talking out of limits, out of boundaries can create fights, can create disputes within the family. So if a person is very concerned and takes into consideration everything he says, inshallah within the house there will be harmony, there will be love. And the last ayat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala points out towards that Ya ayyuhalladhina taqullah wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad. That to exercise taqwa, look at what you have put forward. That when a person lives a life where his akhirat, where his hereafter is in front of his eyes, then to live a life will become easy. To live a life of obedience will become easy. So if you look at this, the gist of these three ayats, all of them are towards gearing a person towards the hereafter and taqwa. And one of the things that a girl, a bride to be going into a new house has in her heart is sometimes she has some fear. She has a unwanted tension and stress that I'm going to a new house, I'm going to a new environment, I'm going to see new people. How am I going to adapt with them? How am I going to fit in with them? What's the atmosphere going to be like? So there was a time when as a Shaykh Rahmatullah alayhi, as a Shaykh Muhammad Zakaria Rahmatullah alayhi, one of his murids, he wrote to him that he has just got married and probably asked for some advice, sought some advice from him. So the Shaykh Rahmatullah alayhi replied back with some du'as. He gives him some du'as of the husband and wife, that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instill love amongst you, make you a union, and some other du'as. And then he gave some particular nasiyat to the daughter-in-law. He gave some nasiyat to the person's wife, that tell your wife that deen और दुनिया की सआदत और ताल्लुकात की खुशगवारी इसमें है कि शुरू में खास तौर पर ससुराल वालों के साथ बहुत ज़्यादा नियाज़मंदी, दिलदारी और खिदमत का इख्तिमाम किया जाए. And this is the gist of my message today. That when a girl goes to the in-laws, then she has this stress. She has this fear that I'm going to meet new people. What's the temperament? It's not like my house. It's not like me and dad and mom and brothers. I'm going to meet new people. So the Shaykh Rahmatullah alayhi wrote to that murid that tell your wife that at the beginning, how should you live? That deen or dunya ki saadat mandi. If you want to gain the success, if you want to gain the fortune of this world in terms of your deen and in terms of the hereafter and in terms of your akhirat, and if you want to keep the relationship between you, your husband, between you, your in-laws, between you and your mother-in-law, between you and your father-in-law, then be very particular. Be very particular in the beginning of the wedding. Be very particular in the initial stage of your life when you become a union in being humble. Be very humble in front of the in-laws. Become somebody that is ready to give service. Become a person who wins hearts. And how do you win hearts? By doing those things that keeps the family happy. By doing those things that you want people to do for your parents. So take the in-laws as your own parents. And especially in the beginning of the wedding, make sure you give special concern towards khidmat. Khidmat of your husband, khidmat of your mother-in-law, khidmat of your father-in-law. And he said, whoever does this, and he says, in my household we have seen that those girls that have gone with this in their mind, where in the beginning they were humble, in the beginning they did a lot of khidmat, in the beginning they won all the hearts of the father-in-law, hearts of the sister-in-law, hearts of the mother-in-law, hearts of the people in the houses, hearts of the children of the houses, then we have seen that that girl is no longer a daughter-in-law. She is a daughter-in-law, but in reality she is the queen of the house. Because the father-in-law, before he wants to do something, he will do mashwara with the daughter-in-law. The mother-in-law wants to do something in the morning, she will do mashwara with the daughter-in-law at night. Okay, beta, shall we do this tomorrow? Shall we clean the house tomorrow? Are you in a good mood? And she says, mommy, not today, tomorrow. Then she says, okay, beta, whenever at your convenience. So this fear that the daughter-in-law usually has, this stress that she has, okay, how am I going to adapt? Well, the best way to adapt is go in with this mindset. This misconception that a lot of girls have, that I will not be able to adapt with my father-in-law, mother-in-law. I'm just for my husband. It's me and my husband. No, in a wedding, it's not just a husband and wife that are getting married. It's not just two independent people getting married. It is two families getting together. It is two whole khandans getting together. And as a daughter-in-law, you have more responsibility than just your husband. So on one side, if you go with this mindset, inshallah, you will see that the house, there will be harmony, there will be love, and the connections will flourish. And a time will come that you will no longer be looked at as a daughter-in-law, you will be looked at as a daughter. And in fact, if there is a disagreement between the daughter and the daughter-in-law, the parents, the in-laws, the father-in-law will suppress and push the daughter. Okay, no, don't do that to a daughter. You accept your mistake. Tu maafi mangile. So when a daughter-in-law goes and she has this in mind, you will, and whatever you do, don't think that I'm a slave. No. Think that I am doing it as khidmat of the khalq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am doing it as a khidmat of the makhluk. Because when a person does as khidmat of the makhluk, then he will get rewarded. And she knows in the back of the mind that yes, I am hoovering the house. Okay, my duty was just to hoover my room. But I am hoovering the house. My mother-in-law is getting happy. If my mother-in-law is getting happy, this is khidmat, my Allah is getting happy. And when my Allah gets happy, that means He's happy, He will be rewarding me. When you have this in your mind, that I am getting rewarded for every act that I am doing, then inshallah to do khidmat will become very easy. And it will become enjoyable. To make a cake in the house will become enjoyable. That I am doing it because my father-in-law likes cakes, and when he eats this cake, so many du'as will come out of his heart from me. For my children, for my offspring. So the advice, we're going to keep it short. The advice for the daughter-in-law is that when you step foot into the new house, don't go with a negative impact. Okay, nowadays there's this negative mahol where before the wedding as well, there's this thought, okay, I need to move out, I need to have my own house. There's the parents that have brought that boy up, wants to be part of your happiness. They want you to live with them, and they want to see the happiness between husband and wife. So when the daughter-in-law goes with this, and on the other side, for the boy, he needs to remember that this girl is 22 years old, 23 years old, 25 years old. She has been brought up, she has been pampered, she has been looked after by her mom, her dad, her brothers. She is leaving all of them for me. She is coming into a new environment. She is leaving her parents for my parents. She is leaving her sisters for my sisters. So I have to honor her. I have to look after her. I have to give her that honor and respect and that dignity. And when there is love from both sides, where the mother-in-law doesn't look as a daughter-in-law as a daughter-in-law, in fact, she takes care of her more than her own daughter. And this was the time. The time where the Sharif, the pious people of the old time, their daughter-in-laws were more honored in the eyes than their own daughters. If the daughter-in-law would do something, they would shake it aside. And if the daughter would do it, they would reprimand the daughter. Because that they say, no, we have to look after our daughters. And the parents from home would say as well, that, oh beta, you are going to a new house, make sure you win their hearts. So for the mother-in-law side, for the father-in-law, for the son, their duty is that honor this girl. Honor this girl because she has left everything. And the parents that have done her khidmat, have looked after her for 22 years, she is not going to be doing their khidmat. When the father becomes old, she is going to be looking after you and your father. She's not going to go to look after her parents. So she is sacrificing so much. So we need to give her that honor. We need to give her that respect. And inshallah, when there is mutual understanding from both sides, where the mother-in-law looks at the daughter-in-law as her own daughter, and the daughter-in-law looks to the mother-in-law and the father-in-law as their own parents, then inshallah there will be a lot of harmony, a lot of love in the house. And when there is a lot of love and harmony in the house, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes that house filled with barakat. When there are quarrels in the house, and barakat goes. Once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the month of Ramadan, Galiban, he came out and he had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired his heart regarding which day Laylatul Qadr is. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came out. When he came out, he saw two Sahabis quarreling. And when he saw the two Sahabis quarreling, this ilm that he had of when Laylatul Qadr is, that ilm went from his mind. Then he didn't remember was it the 27th or 25th. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took that ilm back. Why? Because of the barakati of quarreling. That Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam forgot which day Laylatul Qadr was, and he said, now look for it within last 10 days. So quarreling brings barakati in the house. And we should try our best that there is no quarrels. There are no misunderstandings. And if something happens, then try to clear it up. Try to brush it out straight away. And inshallah, when we live a life like this, where there is taqwa, there is love, there is humbleness, then inshallah, Rasulullah said, Man tawada illa rafa Allah. The daughter that exercise humbleness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show a day that she will be elevated and she will be looked up as the queen of the house. The daughter-in-laws, the other sister-in-laws, the mother, the father-in-law, the mother-in-law, they will all look for her. Okay, where is she? How come she's not here? Bring her, call her first, give her first. And inshallah, she will be as daughter-in-law, but living the life of a queen. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the correct understanding, and inshallah, make this wedding a union of two families, a markaz of happiness, and a place of pious offsprings. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا وقال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم النكاح من سنتي فمن رغب عن سنتي فليس مني أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. اسمع आप वकील हैं लड़की को इजाजत क्वेश्चन आप गवाह गर्ल्स आप जी Ismail Bhai Ahmad Logat is a representative of Naima Logat, the bride, and having taken her consent in the presence of the two witnesses, Brother Ahmad Mia Ismail Logat and Brother Izhar Sonwadi, and in the presence of the believers in this blessed gathering, and in the exchange of £501 dowry, have have you given Naima Logat as a wife in the nikah to Muhammad Ashraf Ibrahim? Brother Muhammad Ashraf Ibrahim, respected Brother Ismail Ahmad Logat, as a true representative of Naima Logat, the bride, having taken her consent in the presence of the two witnesses, Brother Ahmad Mia Ismail Logat and Brother Izhar Bhai Sonwadi, and in the presence of the believers in this blessed gathering, and in the exchange of 501 pounds dowry, Kash has given Naima Logat to you as a bride in your nikah. Have you accepted Naima Logat as your wife in your nikah? Nakahtuha, سنكحتها وكبلتها. بارك الله لكما وبارك عليكما وجمع بينكم في خير الشمس.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بارك الله لكما وبارك عليكما وجمع بينكما في خير. بارك الله لكما وبارك عليكما وجمع بينكما في خير. بارك الله لكما وبارك عليكما وجمع بينكما في خير. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله وأصحابه وأزواجه أجمعين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. اللهم ألف بينهما كما ألفت بين عبادك الصالحين ونسائهم الصالحات. اللهم ألف بينهما كما ألفت بين سيدنا إبراهيم وسارة عليهم السلام. اللهم ألف بينهما كما ألفت بين سيدنا محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وأم المؤمنين خديجة الكبرى رضي الله تعالى عنها وأم المؤمنين عائشة الصديقة رضي الله تعالى عنها وأزواجه المطهرات رضوان الله عليهن أجمعين. اللهم ألف بينهما كما ألفت بين علي وفاطمة الزهراء رضي الله تعالى عنهما. या तो जलाल वकराम इसी का अपने बार के हाल मकबूल फरमा, मंजूर फरमा, इसमें बरकत नसीब फरमा, आपस में मोहब्बत और मवद्दत नसीब फरमा। या अल्लाह इससे पहले भी जितने निगाह हुए हैं हर घर को या अल्लाह आबाद फरमा। या रब तुझे आपस के अंदर एक दूसरे को समझ कर ज़िंदगी गुजारने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमा। जो बातें कही गई हैं इन बातों पर अमल करने की हर एक को तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमा। हर घर के अंदर रहमत और बरकत इत्तिफ़ाक़ और इत्तिहाद नसीब फरमा। या अल्लाह अपने करम से अपनी रहमत से हर निकाह को नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु ताला अलैहि वसल्लम की सुन्नत के मुताबिक करने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमा। यहाँ से जाने के बाद भी हॉल के अंदर भी या अल्लाह सुन्नत के मुताबिक अमल करना नसीब फरमा। अल्लाहुम्मा इन्ना नस्अलुका मिन खैरि मा सअलका मिन्हु नबियुका सय्यिदुना मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम व नऊज़ु बिका मिन शर्रि मा इस्तआज़ा मिन्हु नबियुका सय्यिदुना मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम व अंतल मुस्तआन व अलैकल बलाग व ला हौला व ला कुव्वता इल्ला बिल्लाहिल अलिय्यिल अज़ीम। अल्लाहुम्मा बारिक लना फ़ी हाज़ा निकाह। अल्लाहुम्मा बारिक लना फ़ी हाज़ा निकाह। اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولأساتذتنا ولمشايخنا ولجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. رب ارحمها كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمها كما ربياني صغيرا. اللهم اشف مرضى المؤمنين وارحم موتى المؤمنين. اللهم صل. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وأصحابه وأزواجه وأتباعه أجمعين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا رب.